This week we have 3 webinars lined up for you. First is Soft Savings Trend among Gen Zs. In this webinar, we're gonna help the Gen Zs to switch towards smart savings and set themselves up for the future financial success. Second is Health Insurance Decoded, your first step to financial security. Protect your wealth by making sure your health is covered first. And the last one is direct versus regular mutual funds, maximizing your returns with right choice. In this webinar, we're going to explain how expert advice could help you maximize returns and navigate market volatility. Register using the below link and join without fail. Thanks.
So you spoke about risk management and contingency, and insurance is something that is overshadowed by investment talk. How important and how can people ensure that they're adequately invested, and how do you know or how do you determine the right amount of insurance that you need?
See, a lot of people see insurance as a waste of money, but it's not so. Our incomes are rising much faster annually for salaried people than it did in, let's say, the previous decades. When your salary is going up and when you are able to make job switches that significantly improve your earning power, you have to ensure that you are adequately insured to the extent of your present human life value. Because when your salary goes up significantly, your human life value goes up, your earning power goes up. So the insured value of your life has to go up. And when you do this early in your career, let's say between 22, 23 when you start working and 40, when you keep adjusting the insured value of your life to align with your current income, then you're always adequately insured. So your human life value will be reflected in your term insurance value, the value for which your life is insured for a particular term. And that will keep on going up periodically. At some point in time, you will say, okay, this is enough. I don't need to increase further because the premiums will start going up after a particular age. But that value which you have insured will be sufficient. It will compensate for a reasonable loss of income, and you can run with that for a while. People don't even do this properly. I have noticed one thing. People don't even do this properly. I have noticed one thing. I did one financial health check for all our clients. I asked them to fill up a form. The purpose was to only understand whether these kind of issues have been dealt with fairly by them. They refused to give the information, saying that, oh, this is confidential information. What would I do with the human life value of a person? In what way can I use it? It is meant for them only. But people make these kind of reactions where they don't understand what we are trying to do. However we explain, they think that it is like giving some information to some maybe app, or I don't know what they give information to. But this is basically meant to give them the right prescription. So they don't get the information itself, so they don't get the prescription. So the whole process gets skipped, or it gets bypassed, or it gets subverted. I think this is the biggest problem with insurance, because that subject itself is not discussed in the way it has to be discussed. Because you think insurance is fraud or insurance is a waste of money, you have these biases. But insurance is also a necessity to so many families who are only one hospitalization away from losing what they have. When you are in that position, imagine you are one death away from losing your breadwinner. I think you should not leave yourself exposed to that risk. I'm not wishing that anybody should go to hospital, anyone should die. But in the event of such an unforeseen tragedy hitting a family, at least financially they should be secured. And if you don't have that conversation, and if you don't do what it takes, then however good you are as an investor, you are not doing your duty to your family in the right way. I think people have to become more receptive to this. They have to have these conversations meaningfully with the expert in insurance who will advise them correctly, who is not interested in selling them a wrong product. Not having that conversation at all is not a sensible option or an alternative to getting conned. You must ensure you are not getting conned. You must have that meaningful conversation with somebody who won't con you. You are having the same type of response to a con man and also to people who want to give you the right prescription. And that doesn't work. That has to change.
That's well put. I remember in the conversations that we have, with clients, you've always emphasized on the importance of thinking big. How important do you think is this mindset when it comes to long-term wealth creation?
See, firstly, a lot of people invest the same way. I've seen people who came to market with me, they'll buy 100 share in a company. They would have grown 10x in wealth since the early stage. They'll still buy 100 share in a company. Right? Or they'll buy 1000 shares in a company. When their portfolio is, let's say, 5 crore or 10 crore, buying 1000 shares in a stock which is trading at 20 rupees makes no difference to their overall wealth creation. So they don't achieve scale in their decision making. When I say think big, you have to create big decisions. You have a choice whether you are going to take the decision in one day or you break down that one decision into multiple decisions. For example, you want to invest in a particular fund. You can invest in 20 installments. You can invest it over 2-3 years. You want to buy a particular financial product. You can stagger your purchases. You want to build $1 million in a PMS. You don't have to put $1 million. You can put 50 lakhs. Every now and then you add 1 lakh, 2 lakh, whenever you get savings and gradually scale up. You can break down the decision. But you need to achieve scale. A lot of people, even in the PMS, I have noticed, they'll give 50 lakhs and they'll tell the manager or whoever is giving them that product, I'll see for 2 years. If it does well, I'll give you more money. Now assume that the market is going up like you have seen in the last 2 years. After 2 years, they are giving a bulk sum of money, doesn't help their cause. Whereas, along this 2-year period, if they had given small installments and staggered their investing to mitigate the risk and also take care of every opportunity that comes their way and to participate in them, they would have achieved the scale after 2 years. Saying that I will take stock after 2 years is not going to help them. A lot of people don't understand how to think big. Thinking big comes from scaling up your small decisions into reasonable decisions. Making multiple decisions of a reasonable size and ensuring those decisions are taken correctly. You should get those decisions right. If you do these 3 things, automatically you start thinking big, right? So, thinking big starts with thinking small, scaling up your small decisions and making all those decisions translate into a big success. So, it's a process. So, it's not something where you say that, okay, I am going to think big and thump the table and then you put all your money in one day. That is not thinking big. But your aspiration should make you take bigger and bigger decisions. And you must make them correctly. And you must take those decisions when valuations are in your favor, and you must never miss out on such opportunities. Culturally, you align to that. That is what I mean when I say thinking big. It is possible for anyone to do it, but you must make the effort to cross that hump and to go to the other side and see how you can play this whole process to much more effect and with much more efficiency. That is the challenge for people, but it is possible. It's doable.
We've come to the last question of this episode. Wealth management firms typically require a minimum ticket size of 1 crore for them to even break even, right? And yet you launched Milestones to Wealth, right? So what is your vision behind the program and what do you hope to achieve through it?
See, when you say 1 crore to break even, the financial viability of a client is not high, even at the entry level of 50 lakhs for a PMS. Basically, we have to scale clients to a significant level, only then our kind of firms can service the client. That is your basic point. So I want to clarify on that. Then why go to a client who's putting 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 slowly and coming up? I think that inculcating the right habit, giving an investor a correct process, helping them achieve scale from where they start, making them achieve one milestone at a time and look it forward to the next one. and progressively taking them to a goal of 1 crore inculcates all the financial traits and habits that I would like to have in a client when he comes to me at 1 crore. Now, I don't want to dictate to a client who comes at 1 crore that you must be like this. I don't want to preach to him. It's not going to be received also if I talk like that. It will be seen differently and adversely. And the purpose won't be served because we want these traits and habits in the investor for his own success and for our own effectiveness in ensuring that he succeeds and achieves what he wants. So, by starting from, let's say, 2 lakh first milestone and taking him to 1 crore, when I do these 6 milestones with the investor, even though the space is just mutual funds, I am able to give him that experience, make him understand the importance of focusing on his next milestone, making him believe in the process of small but significant steps at every opportunity, leading to his next milestone, and making him very familiar with the kind of process that I would follow when he is a bigger investor. So actually I am creating the investors I would like to work with, and hopefully they achieve far more than investors who actually come in later. That's the thought process. So we are basically creating a breed of investors who are very successful at what they do in their career, who are very serious and sincere about saving, who want to purpose their investments correctly, who don't want to make mistakes, who don't like trading, who don't see investing as gambling, who want real tangible outcomes over long periods of time. And I believe that the first crore is the make or break for these investors. Now, you can mean all these things, you can be well intentioned, but when you do your investing, you may depend on some friend, somebody whom you travel with in the metro, some colleague whom you have lunch with, somebody you go and have a drink with in the evening, and you do all your investment actions in a rather cavalier way or a casual way, you start making mistakes, then you are going to be set back in time, and then you will not know how to react, so you are going to freeze. Or you make a mistake and you think that you will recover in the same place, you make more mistakes in the same place. So all these things basically don't create the investor that you can become or you should become, despite your right intentions. My thinking is all the right intentioned people must avoid all these random approaches and have a very structured approach where mistakes are avoided. And it's a fairly simple, straightforward investment experience where they know what they're doing. They know there won't be nasty surprises. And that makes them do a little more always than their potential. And that takes them closer to every milestone faster than they think they would reach when they begin. So this whole thing is a positive loop in behavior and a positive loop in the process which we curate along with the investor. But we can do it only with the right investor. We can't do it with every investor. But the investor with the right mindset, as I said, who's sincere, focused and passionate about achieving financial freedom within reasonable time, then for him the 0 to 1 or the first crore is everything. And when we are there with him in the journey after that will be very, very smooth and comfortable. And there are a lot of learnings in my first crore which I have taken into this, because it was not as easy or as homogeneous as we are able to curate now. There are a lot of ups and downs, and it was a difficult market where you didn't have return for 5 years. Okay, so I learnt at that time what I should have done or what I can do better, and all these learnings across cycle we are taking into these products which we buy now, into the process which we curate in Milestones 12. So Milestones 12 is basically a early stage development program for the investor. That's what we are actually offering the investor. I hope investors see the merit in that, because I don't think the costs are very high. And the way we invest itself across asset classes, across products, basically reduces the overall cost for the investor. And it's not very high. So the reduction in cost is far more valuable than what they see, because we are reducing the mistakes. Right? Nobody calculates that. But if you calculate the cost of mistake, the cost they pay is actually not at all something an investor should bother about. It's something that they need not even worry about. So that's how we have curated this. So we want to create a process where we are able to take, let's say, a lakh of people towards 1 crore. And if you're able to do that over a period of time, then that will spread to all the people around them. It will become cultural. Basically, this is a aspiration to breed a certain investment culture, which later will definitely help us service these investors when they become bigger. So we get the right investors because we create them. That's the concept.
Great. That's very ambitious. We've come to the end of this episode. Watch out the space for more episodes of Talking with Shyam Sekhar.